Good evening, everyone. My name is Debbie Singleton, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I come to you live on Monday evenings, and we do a project making cards. I hope everyone had a nice weekend. It was super duper hot. But of course, we live in Arizona, so what else do you expect, right? And it's July, so it's typically hot here in Arizona in July, right? Majorly hot. So we don't have a pool, but hopefully if you have a pool, that's where you spent your time, was out by the pool, because it was certainly hot. And again, it was hot today too. Usually it's starting to get muggy in July. July and August are our monsoon seasons, and we get rain and then it gets muggy for us here in Arizona, but it's just downright hot right now. Anyways, but I hope everyone had a nice weekend and a nice day. I had a wonderful weekend. I got to spend it with Haley and Grayson. I got to spend it with Haley and my grandson. And we had a great time. She got to, of course, flit around here and do her dance routine and gymnastics and all that kind of stuff that she loves to do so very much. And then we got to watch my grandson, and he was a blast. He just had so much fun, and Haley was so much help with him because he's 2 and she's 8, so that was a lot of fun. And the kids got to go out for the evening, and then the other grandson went with the other grandma, so that was a lot of fun. And so that we enjoyed our weekend, and that wore us out. That tuckered us out. So good evening, Sarah. Thanks for joining. So I thought I would do a card from the you get with the stamp set that you can earn for free. If you have a $100 purchase, you can have the stamp set and the paper, because this paper is beautiful. Of course, in Stampin' Up! Fashion, our paper is gorgeous, but the stamp set is called Wonderful World, and it's just the stamp set, and it comes with the paper as well. And so I thought it would be super fun to do something with the stamp set and the paper. And so I was like, this paper, I couldn't decide, because I don't know if I wanted to do purple paper or green paper or what paper I wanted to use with it, because there's so many choices. I mean, if you turn the paper over, as in fashion with Stampin' Up!, you can have so many different colors and choices. And this paper is all, of course, about flowers. And then there's a few that have stripes on them. So I used this paper here, but then if you turn it over, that's this one. So again, there's so many choices. I mean, it's unbelievable, but it is beautiful, this paper packet, as usual. If you look inside of it, I mean, there's flowers, and then there's this one. Oh my goodness, you could use pinks, obviously. Hi, Stephanie. Thanks for joining. I mean, there's just endless amounts. So this stamp set doesn't have any sayings to it, so that's kind of unusual. But there is a few in there that don't have any sayings. And on the card that I made, I didn't have a saying, and I was like, sometimes you just want to write inside the card and not on the outside of the card. But the one that I'm going to make tonight, I'm going to actually put a saying on it. But the one that I made for the demonstration, I didn't put a saying. But the stamp set, you could pick any, like, one of these flowers and just use it as just the stamp set part itself. Is so pretty. And you can pick any of them. So on my second one, I used another set that you can also get free with a $100 purchase. So this one is called Amazing Phrasing, and there's so many cool phrases here. Woohoo, amazing, hey, oops. And then there's a whole bunch of these others. I'm the worst, to you too, you did it, together, I miss you, you're doing, good looking. It's going to be around the sun to another year. So sorry, you are. So, I mean, there's a whole bunch of phrases. So when I'm stamped the other card, I'm going to put, I miss you on the outside, and then you can write on the inside of the card. So this one is awesome. And again, then you can earn this when you have $100 purchase. So on our celebration catalog. So this is the card we're going to make. This is super fun. I'm going to do it's a flip card. Open it and open it. And so I don't have any Velcro because you should actually Velcro this because it doesn't really just stay closed. But I, again, couldn't decide if I wanted to use my card base as a purple or I pulled out the green in it. And I ended up using Old Olive as my color. Hi, Mom. Thanks for coming. And then I used purples as my accent. So, but you could use, actually, you could use this other color as an accent too. I mean, you could use almost any color. You could use yellow as an accent. You can use almost any color. But I mean, it is gorgeous, gorgeous paper. So, but I thought it would be fun as a flip card, and you could open it up and then you could write your sentiment inside, and you could stamp inside too if you want. So you could do almost anything. But again, you could just put just a teensy bit of Velcro right here and have it so that it would close and then it would open because it doesn't quite sit closed, but it is super fun. So it was a moment for me to figure this out, but I did. So we're gonna make this card. It's an easy card to make. I just had to figure out my dimensions. So I did. I figured it out. And then since I stamped the leaves in a different color that I did the flower, I couldn't like block off the leaves and the flower because that was just a pain. And so I saw Sarah cut her stamp, and so I did. I cut my stamp too. I'm like, so what if you cut your stamp? You can cut it and then it's easier to stamp, and you get your two colors and then you butt them up together, and then it makes perfect, because you want to stamp your leaves the right color. You don't want your leaves to be whatever, the same color as your flower color. So first time I've ever cut my stamps, Sarah, it was a little bit much. But after I did it, I'm like, oh, that's not that bad after all. So I was like, okay. So I guess it's not that bad. So to get your card to make it so it works right, let me flip this over here. It was a little trying for me, but I did end up figuring it out. So your card base is 10 by 4 1/4, and then on each end you score it at 2 3/8. So in this end you score it at 2 3/8, and this end you score it at 2 3/8, and that's going to give you your little section there. And then you want to make sure that you give it really good crease, again, because you want it to sit right. So you want each section to crease really well. Now, for your inside piece, just use basic white piece, and that is 4 by 5. And we can just go ahead and glue that in there because I didn't actually do anything with it. I didn't stamp on it. And you can stamp on it, and that would be actually kind of nice too. Or you can stamp your sentiment, or then you can just write on there. Most times I don't like to write a whole bunch, so I usually do a sentiment. I stamp a sentiment, but I didn't pick one out, so I just left it blank, and you can stamp in there. So we could just put them in there, and that fits kind of nicely in there. And there's even a little bit of wiggle room in there. But okay. Now to do our edges, so we want our edge. So we want that to make it really nice. So we would do our two little edges. So we need 2 white pieces, or whatever color pieces you want for the plain pieces, I should say. So our 2 plain pieces, those measure 4 1/8 by 2 1/2. I think is that what? Let's make sure I'm giving you the right ones. Yeah, 4 1/8 by 2 1/2. You need 2 of those, and then your DSP, which is just this is so gorgeous. So then your DSP is 2 by 4, so that'll go on top of there. So we can glue those. This card is super easy to make. I just had to, like I said, I just had to figure out what. And so this is directional. I mean, you don't want your flowers to go upside down. So when you cut your paper, because it's directional, be sure when you put it in the paper cutter that you make sure that it's going the directional way as well. So make sure that you have it in the directional. So I had to make sure that I had it sitting this way and the long size this way, so that it's going to sit on my paper the right way. Usually we don't have directional paper, and it doesn't matter how you put it in the trimmer, but you want to make sure that you're going to trim it so it's not upside down, because you don't want your flowers to be upside down. So let's make sure we don't put the flowers upside down when I do that, when I said that. And we're just having a little tiny border, so I mean, it's barely a white border. It's just enough to sit on there. It's just going to go that way. I think this one color in here is Razzle something. You could use that color too. It's so pretty. It says on the back of my package. Let me tell you here. That's so nice because it gives us that color. I almost used that Rich Razzleberry. Yes, that's another one of my favorite colors, Rich Razzleberry. Knew it was. So now we're ready to put it on here. So I know these colors in this DSP, isn't it really pretty, Mom? Yeah, it is. I mean, and I chose to do the old olive, but you could, there's a deeper green as well that you could pick, and that would look just as nice too. But there's the deeper green would look good too. So I mean they're so deep and rich looking. They're just beautiful. So we're gonna put this on. It all makes all the colors pop together. And that just looks, again, and then if you used, I think it's Daffodil Delight is in this. If you use the yellow, that would also look really pretty. I think they just do, as usual, Stampin' Up! Does such a good job of matching all the colors together. All right, now that's the beginnings of our card. Then I did this green piece, and I used our embossing scalped contours, and I used if you use this scalloped contours, I used the third from the largest, so 1, 2, 3. So I used this one and cut that out. And I don't know if you measure the piece that I cut. I think I measured like a piece of paper of like 3 7/8 by 2 3/4, but I just used a scrap piece of paper. I just had scraps of this. So, and then cut that out. And then the inside piece that's going to go in there that we're going to stamp on, that is 2 by 3 1/4. Had this all written down, but yep, 2 by 3 1/4. So I also want to, I'm going to stamp the sentiment. So I'm going to stamp the sentiment on another green piece, and I'm just going to throw away that other piece. So I'm going to stamp I miss you, and I decided I'm going to stamp it in the Gorgeous Grape, which is what I used to stamp the flower with. So I think that'll look really nice. So I took the phrase out of the Amazing Phrases, and I'm going to stamp that on the green. And kind of cut this a little short, but it does just barely fit on there. My little top of my eye is cut off just a little bit. And then I'm going to kind of cut it at an angle. And cut this one at an angle. And that's how I'm going to put it on. So that's. And then we're going to stamp the flower. All right, so I want this on. That's going to hang over just a teensy bit. That'll be okay because that's going to be on there. So I think I want this. So I'm going to stamp the flower. I might have to go at an angle. I didn't put one on there. So, okay, so I'm going to have to go up here. Beautiful. All right. And then I use the old olive for the branches. And then you just put that up next to the up like it was gonna, never knew that I cut it. Voila, never knew that. Okay, and then I'm gonna dimensional my little, I might need little dimensionals. I got my nails done and I got them cut too short because I'm doing like 6 weeks before I get them done again. And I really miss having them a little bit longer because now I can't grab onto stuff because they're really not there. So it's kind of weird. Like they're just nubbies now. So now I can't grab onto stuff. It's kind of weird. But she's on vacation and then I'm doing something. So it's, oh my goodness, it's crazy. I decided I would just let it go. All right, so I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna do a bow at the bottom. So I really love our new ribbon. This is our new ribbon, and it also goes with this. It's metallic-y, and it's actually called the Parakeet Party, but it goes really nicely with this as well. I think it looks really super nice, and it's nice to work with. It's flexible, but it's really pretty, and it makes beautiful bows. I'm gonna put a bow at the bottom. I have a bow on there, but I'm not gonna wrap it around. I'm just gonna make a bow. But all of our new in color bow ribbon is all this metallic, and it is just gorgeous. All the colors are these metallics, and they are just beautiful, and they are so nice to make bows. They just make beautiful bows. So that will be very nice to make a bow to put on there. So we'll have a bow with the bottom. Okay. I'm going to put this on first and then put the bow on there. So let's attach this on. I got glue on there. A little crazy then. All right, so we're going to put this on. Fit down on here nice. All right, and then we get the blue dot, put our bow down here. All right, it's sticking in my fingers. All right, now we're going to put this on here. So what you don't want to do is glue both ends, and you don't want to glue it down past there. So you just want to kind of measure. Oh, sorry, I'm not in the camera, sorry. So you want to measure where it's going to sit on your card and kind of judge about how far down you want to actually put the glue. So just a couple little notches is really what you want, where you want to put the glue. So we want to just put the glue. Put it on there. It's pretty good. And then I didn't really have any green dots. So I thought purple actually tied everything all together. I had green ribbon. So our glossy dot assortments had the purple ones. And purple is my favorite color anyways. But I thought it tied it together because that's purple. There's enough purple in here. So I thought we could use purple dots, huh? Thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you guys. I'm glad everybody likes my card. I am trying to kind of make a few like fun cards, not just plain straight cards. And so I'm trying to learn how to do like this one, like fun folds and some other kinds of things like that. So trying to get out of my comfort zone and do that. So it was actually fun to do this and to learn how to do them. So I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it. There we go. I think that looks good. And it's fun to show everybody how to do different things too. So I'm glad. Just need to get some little tiny adhesive so that will stay closed. But oops, I'm not in the camera. There we go. So Haley was in here playing with my camera, so sorry. So there is our card tonight. So I'm so glad that everybody likes the bling. Yes, the bling just adds that little teensy bit to it. So it just gives it that little extra character. But I thought it needed a little saying. I mean, this one I didn't have a saying on, and it, excuse me, it, it doesn't, I mean, it looks plain, but it doesn't. So, I mean, sometimes you can have a plain card too. So, but I do need to get some of those little adhesives. But the bling just does add a little bit to the card and just makes it a little bit better. So, but anyways, I'm glad you liked my card, and everyone has a nice rest of their evenings. Thank you for joining me. Sarah, I hope you're feeling much better. I know you were under the weather last week, so hopefully you're feeling better, because next week is our retreat, so you have to be all well for that. So anyways, everyone have a great evening, and we will see you later. Enjoy. Bye-bye.